What does it mean to broker repertoire between communities of practice? What does it look like? What does it sound like? Okay, testing audio. I'm Thomas, and in this video, I want to tell you about one of my projects, distributed synthesis. It started in 2016, when I was invited by Vital Statistics to be a part of a project called EON. Working with Liz Dunn, Laura Toms, Xian Law, and Lawrence English, alongside a diverse and beautiful team of local artists, was an eye-opening and formative experience. It left me with the feeling that I might have something quite specific that I could contribute to this ecology of diverse, creative practices. It had to do with a tutorial playlist on the Coding Train YouTube channel, in which Dan Schiffman used P5 and WebSockets to make a shared drawing canvas. I kept thinking, surely you could do a similar thing, but with sound. Encouraged by the lecturers at Adelaide Uni's Sonic Arts program where I was studying, I used online learning resources to teach myself JavaScript. The idea is relatively simple. You get a bunch of people to jump onto a website that hosts a sound engine built with Web Audio API, and you tell everyone to turn the volume up on their phones. Then you send instructions to the sound engine websites using WebSocket API. It uses freely available internet protocols to conglomerate the computational and loudspeaker capacities of our mobile phones into a multi-voice synthesizer capable of massive polyphony. So far, I've made 76 iterations of the instrument. I've experimented with using it in a bunch of different formal and informal settings. Unfortunately, no documentation exists for most of these events, as the instrument preoccupies phones that would otherwise be used to get footage. At the start of this year, however, we put on an audio picnic for our friends in Adelaide. This time my partner Lauren and my friend Jay remembered to capture some footage. Just a few weeks ago, we held a soiree at our house in Thornbury. It went well, but unfortunately I had the camera on slow motion mode, so it didn't capture any audio. Luckily, about a week later, I would have another opportunity. The community of practice I chose to broker distributed synthesis with was the Creative Coding Specialisation class I teach at RMIT. In broad terms, the domain of this community of practice is tertiary education, more specifically, the subject creative coding. As we always meet in the same room, we could say that we have a physical domain as well. Room 10 on level 3 of Building 9. The repertoire of this community of practice is made up of lectures, tech demonstrations, assignments, emails, reading rubrics, asking questions, exploring, discussing, coding, debugging, refactoring, commenting, etc. My plan was to align distributed synthesis with the existing repertoire of tech demonstrations. In Creative Coding Specialisation, we value learning and creativity, and it was with these values that I intended my demonstration of distributed synthesis to display alignment. My plan was to navigate as many phones and computers in the room to the URL where the distributed synthesis client was deployed, and to improvise a short piece of music. 4 amazing students made it to class in time for the tech demo. We waited about half an hour for more students to arrive. While we waited, we logged into most of the computers around the room and made heaps of synthesis clients. I experimented a little bit, but within a few minutes went to some familiar chords, which I repeated a few times, eventually finding a cadence to finish on. One thing that struck me about the experience was how the audience seemed most receptive to the sound of the instrument when I was standing up, holding the keyboard almost like a violin, and sort of breathing with my body into a chord change like a string player. It seemed as though this physicality helped people understand the listening mode they needed to adopt in order to hear it properly. Many thanks to those students who participated, and to Lauren for helping document what happened.